Well, what is going on? Welcome back to Clayton Schick Outdoors. Of course, I'm Clayton Schick. This is the wonderful outdoors. I'm back up one of my favorite places, Baker's Narrows Lodge in Northern Manitoba. I'm kind of on two different missions here. We had some fish with Clayton, or we have fish with Clayton trips. We've already had one. We're having another one here. It starts tomorrow. But I have one day in between the two trips to kind of do my own little multi-species adventure. I'm gonna go hit the little lake of Athapapaskow. Usually you see me when I'm fishing in the winter, I'm on the big lake and I'm out there searching for those big lakers. But today we're gonna go hit the little lake. We're gonna try for walleye, burbot, lake trout, whitefish, ciscos, pike. We're just gonna go out there and see what we can catch. I'm gonna use the Angler's Edge mapping. Now it makes it so easy to fish on this big lake. Like, look at all this little structure and everything. Oh my goodness, this looks all so good. Yeah, Angler's Edge mapping now has it mapped for the Lowrance, and you can also use it on your phone with Avenza apps. They're starting to map more stuff in the north here. Right now on cards they have, like I said, Little Athapap, they have Tramping, they have Wekusko, they have Paint Lake, they have Joey's Lake, they have a bunch of little stuff up here. They got some stock trout lakes like Barbie, and they're working on a few others. I think they've already said that they are going to be releasing Rocky Lake soon. I'm pretty sure that's already out there, so I can say that, but they're working on other lakes as well. The big lake on Athapap isn't on this chip yet, just so you know. It's just a little lake, but that's probably coming too down the pipeline, I'm sure. Anyways, it's a little bit brisk, so I'm gonna get my jacket on. We're gonna get the skidoo fired up, and we are gonna go on a little venture. Let's do it. So I got to the first spot I want to fish. I'm going to go through all the mapping and that stuff later of how I'm kind of picking these spots for this. It is windier than what I thought it was. It definitely wasn't windy at the cabins. So I'm going to fish in the shelter. I think my goal today will be to pick from 1 to 4 spots. If I pick the first spot and it's happening and I'm seeing fish, I'm catching fish, I'm not going to move. But if I'm not catching any fish, I'm gonna kind of stay proactive and jump around. And like I said, fish anywhere between 1 to probably 4 spots today, I think. I give each spot like 2 hours no matter what. And within that 2 hours, if it's not happening, I'm gonna move on. So we're gonna pop up the flip over right there and yeah, get in the shack where it's nice and warm because it is a little windy and chilly right now. Let's pop her up, let's get fishing. Okay, we're set up fishing. Hour and a half, I think, is the goal for each spot. Unfortunately, as I've had the Livescope down here over the last 20 minutes of setting up, 15 minutes, I haven't really seen any fish catch my eye. So that's not a good sign for the first spot. But we shall see. The first spot I'm kind of starting at is a little more of like a bowl, a main lake basin bowl that's shallow. So I'm like at the end of the deep area. I'll put some screen recordings of kind of what I'm talking about, or I'll be overlaying it here as I'm talking about it. I'll take some screenshots now, but it's just it's a basin is what they call it, basically a main lake basin. And I'm just at the edge of it, hoping that maybe the fish are coming up into the shallows. I'm sitting in 27, 28 feet of water right now. And yeah, hopefully something cruises by there. Like I said today, I could catch so many different species, from walleye to lake trout, everything in between. Whoa, oh boy, it must be a laker or pike. Oh, it could be a pike too. Fish came straight up at it as it was jigging. Pike or laker's my guess. Oh, could be a walleye too. Could be a walleye actually. Thinking pike. It's pretty like thin. If it's a walleye, it's a big one. If it's a pike, it's an average one. I'm pretty sure that was a pike. That thing came right down at it. Whoa. First one I've had an interaction with. I saw 2 fish in the distance, like 50 feet away, and that's been it so far. Pretty sure that was a smaller pike, I would think, though. It just came in like a rocket and then left. Didn't like what I was laying down right now. I got a 3/8 ounce gold Castmaster spoon. I have a jig and a minnow tied up there. Maybe I'll throw that down as well. Or not as well, but just instead of this right now. I don't have a deadline out. If I start seeing a bunch of fish, I'll throw up a Finicky Fooler. But I kind of wanted to find an area that's going to have a bunch of fish before I start to mess around and throw up more lines, because I don't know how long I'm going to be here. Oh, my phone's up there because I have no service, but I've probably been here for about a half hour so far, and my first encounter. So it's going to have to take a lot more than that little encounter to make me want to stay here. And we'll fish for, like I said, the most another hour, and head to another spot and probably try a shoreline structure spot next, I think. We're going to try a bunch of different spots today in terms of, like I said, I'm at a basin right now, shoreline structure, maybe some main lake humps. Main lake humps are always the hardest ones to find unless you have mapping, and having that mapping from Angler's Edge, there's so many main lake humps out there, and that might be one of the spots I choose, but I might choose that spot later into the evening, possible. We shall see. Oh boy, what's that? What was that? Pike? Oh my goodness. Look at this thing. Gotta be a pike, right? It came shooting from way up. Kind of just like how that last fish was too that came in for a bit. It's gotta be a pike. Yeah, little snot rocket. It's kind of what I figured the first one was too. That thing came from way up. Okay. Well, it's definitely one of the species that we're after today, although this is just a little snot rocket, so we will definitely be letting him go. Or if a pike's small enough to turn himself around in the hole and swim in it, that probably means he's a small pike. Like I said, that's one of the species that we're after today. We're just looking for bigger ones of those pike if possible, but one species down. Anyway, still kind of on the fence of, not on the fence, I'm planning to move here, as it has been pretty slow for any action on the Livescope at all right now so far. And that pike was caught on a gold Castmaster 3/8 ounce. That's the hammered one, which I did really, really good on earlier season for walleye. It's one of my confidence baits right now. And I just took a whole minnow and I basically wrapped it. It's called the minnow wrap or whatever. I think they do it on Lake Winnipeg lots, where they wrap it around the whole treble. The minnow wrap. And then it just hangs there on the bottom. Just like that. Minnow wrap. Okay, spot one. Fished it for close to an hour and a half. One little pike. Just not seeing anything else to keep me around and interested, so we're just going to pack up as much work as it is and move. And next spot we're going to try, I think, is kind of like a main lake shoreline, I would say, more than anything, or just a shoreline. Some shoreline structure would be the best way to say it. So once I get there, I'll show some screen images of that as well. But we're going to pack everything up and move to the next spot. I'm curious to see how long it's going to take in between moves. Ice fishing is so much work when it comes to moving around, especially with all the camera gear. I miss my boat when it starts to be mid-season and the fish are scattered, and I feel like I have to look for them a lot harder. So anyways, let's get going. It's nice with the flip over shack. First couple moves I'm making aren't very far. There's kind of up some main lake or some shoreline structure. This is kind of like the basin here I was talking about, where it's like it gets shallower up there, right? It doesn't get deeper ever, it just gets shallower. So now I'm gonna move further out to some main lake structure stuff. Not main lake exactly, but kind of off of a little arm more than anything, and shoreline structure. But I'm not moving too far, so I just kind of flipped it up here for now. If I have to make a bigger move, then I'll obviously flip it all the way down and pack it all up better. Okay, spot number 2, sitting in 29 feet right now off of some shoreline structure. So right behind me is the shoreline, where it's a pretty quick drop off, and out in front of me is a little bit deeper water. It's kind of plateaus here a little bit, about 29-30 feet it looks like, but then it drops off into some deeper water. So we'll try this for spot number 2. It took about a half an hour to make a move. We're set up and fishing again. This spot though, I'm gonna have some lunch no matter what, and yeah, have a hot lunch. A hot lunch on the ice is so good. It just keeps your energy level high and keeps you going. So we will have a chili today. We're gonna have chili from Big Smoke Barbecue. Pretty excited. Okay, the water is boiling there and it is time for lunch. We're having brisket chili. It's pre-cooked boil bags. They're the new future for my cooking. So much better than putting a can on the buddy heater. This pot might not be quite big enough for this, but we'll make it work. We'll boil it for about 20 minutes, get her nice, and then I might be eating it out of the bag. I don't think I brought a bowl today. Silly Clayton. I guess I could put it in I could empty the water and put it in the pot as well. Like I said, I don't have a bowl, but I am having some brisket chili right out of the pot. It still looks hot. So after it was done boiling, I just took the bag out, emptied the water out of here, thawed this camera out because the moisture in here was getting it pretty foggy, and then dumped it in the pot. It's gonna be hot. Am I gonna regret this? No, it's perfect. That's good. That's really good. Wow. Brisket chili from Big Smoke Barbecue. Highly recommend. Oh, and fish update. I haven't marked one fish since I moved here. I've been here for probably about half an hour. Not good. Well, so far today, the only thing that's been good is lunch. We're fishing moving to spot 3. First spot, Basin. Second spot, Shoreline structure. Third spot is going to be, I think, a main lake hump. I'm gonna skip past a main lake point right now. We can always fish the main lake point end of the evening, but I have seen nothing yet. We're gonna make a bigger move. Last time I made a smaller move. This time we're gonna make a bigger move and go try a main lake hump. We might try 2 different main lake humps. I'm hoping to get to one spot though and start seeing some fish. Be like, okay, I'll just stay here for the rest of the day. But this spot, I never saw a fish in probably an hour and a half. So it's time to move on, Clayton. We've officially got to the 3rd spot. Moving while filming is a lot of work. This wasn't bad though. Like, it's pretty quick in the flip over, I feel like. I like the scoop Rapala scoop with a big bucket on the end. It's probably one of my favorite ones I've used so far in the last couple years. Has the measuring device on it here in case you forget your bump board, which, oh, by the way, I gotta pull my bump board inside just in case. I'd like to hopefully use it today. I've caught one little fish, but the day's not over. The day's not over. It's 2:30, I think, and almost 3. Yikes. This could be my last move. It takes so much more to move when you're filming. It feels like I'm set up on a main lake hump, which I'll put some overlays here too of some main lake humps on Little Athapap Lake, deep water off every side. I feel like I could catch lake trout here. I could catch whitefish, burbot, could be pike. The other spots I was fishing, I probably wasn't going to get a burbot, but now I could get a burbot for sure on these areas. I saved my spots for the burbot for later in the evening. Not to say I wouldn't catch a burbot over there too. I just have more confidence with deep water close by. I'm set up in 28 feet on basically just like a rock pile. Hope that some walleyes come by. I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of bait fish, which is Not a good thing. If the bait's deep, like if the bait's 50, 60 feet, you can pretty much just target the lake trout, and the walleye are a lot harder to target. But fingers crossed. I've got hope. I'm not scared. Clayton, you should try some different baits. Well, you gotta find fish before you can try different baits. You can switch lures as much as you want. If you're not seeing fish in 100 feet around you, it doesn't matter what you use. You're not going to, oh, there's a fish down there on the bottom. You're not going to catch fish. This is nice though. Like as soon as I dropped fish, what do we got? I'm thinking this could be a walleye. I really am. Come on. Could be a walleye, I bet. Maybe whitey. So now I saw a fish. If I don't catch this fish, I'd be confident to switch baits, right? Okay. Could be a Cisco, could be a whitefish, could be walleye, could have been a lake trout. Probably wasn't a pike, I'd say, but I did see a fish, so that's a good sign. This rock pile might have some life. Oh, he's still kicking around. He's still kicking around. Maybe a jig and a minnow. Try jigging a minnow, right? I'm also likely to put a dead stick on a flag here just outside the shelter as well, where I can actually see it on the live imaging. I think I might do that. It's probably a good idea. Get that down. I got confidence now. Okay, I got a dead stick out here with a minnow. It's just at the corner of my screen. It's 26 feet away, kind of on that second rock shelf there. It's 26 feet away in 26 feet of water. That's what it looks like. I got it above a little bit there. You can see the leader knot, and you can see the tungsten weight, and then you can just hardly make out the minnow. Some fish here kicking around. What's this? Get over here. Get over here. What are you? It's lower the bottom. Could be burbot, could be walleye, could be pike. Come on. Looks like a nice walleye. There we go. Or burbot maybe. I'm thinking burbot. If it's a walleye, it's a nice one. If it's a walleye, it's a gooder. Could be a lake trout too, of course. If it's a walleye, it's a big walleye. What do we got? Finally some action. I knew just sticking this spot out till later would be the better decision for sure. What do we got? Burbot. Yeah, kind of figured it'd be a burbot. Nice burbot though. Awesome. Burbot do not like to straighten out too much at all. I know sometimes you grab them by the belly, they will, but look, even when I grab them by the belly right now, it's still not straightening out really. But our second species of the day, not a bad burbot at all. Thank you, buddy, for playing. I appreciate you coming around. I may be turning my very, very slow day into something successful. I knew that was like once I got to later in the day that I have some chance of burbot on some of these mid-lake humps. He's going all the way back down right now. And that's why I chose to fish the mid-lake humps a little bit later. There's also another fish going to my flag right now. My dead stick looks smaller, but there's a fish going over there too. I saw it flash. So yeah, this is a good sign anyway. A little bit of action. And this being 28 feet, the burbot will release, whereas compared to when you're fishing for a lake trout, they have a lot tougher time going back when you're fishing like 50, 60 feet of water. The burbot do suffer from barotrauma, whereas you might have to keep some of them. It's every fish is different, right? If they got no energy to swim down, then it's worse for them, right? But that one clearly made it all the way down. And yeah, like I said, there's something going on by my dead stick there. So hopefully the night continues. It's a success now. 2 species down. Fish, 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 fish. Fish. Watching Edmonton Oilers highlights. Come on. There we go. Okay. Burbot or walleye? I'm hoping for a walleye so we can continue with our multi-species day. What do we got? It's a walleye. Oh yeah. Okay. Easy, easy. This is where I lose it and it just flops down the hole. Okay. Why are you freaking out so much? And our multi-species day continues with an eating size walleye. Going back home. See ya. Well, the old jig and a minnow. 1 1/8 ounce Kalen's Google Eye is what I've caught 2 of the fish on, the burbot and the walleye. We just need whitefish now, lake trout. I'm just having fun. It doesn't really matter what I catch today, but there's just always some enjoyment for myself, just for new adventures, areas of lakes I've never fished before, and I've never really spent much time ice fishing on the little lake, period. So this is good. We've worked hard so far for our 3 species, but the day's not over yet. Well, we definitely fished a bunch of different structure today. So far, the best though was this rock structure that I fished. And I think, oh, there's a fish there. I think for the most part, it's like how it's always going to be is like, so today's like things going on is rocks, it seems like. So if I would have came out here to start the day and there's a bunch of fish on rock piles, I'd probably jump around from different rock piles. But when I started the day in a basin area where it was like a mud sand bottom, more mud, and there was like nothing happening at all, it was like there was no, I felt like going to another basin probably wasn't the right play. The fish just went right by that dead stick as well that's out there. Just see ya. And then I went to, like I said, a shoreline structure spot, and there was nothing there either. That was even worse than the first spot. That one was like, it felt like it was just a lunch spot where I went there and I just had lunch and that was it. I don't even remember marking a fish there at all. When I first got to this spot, I saw fish instantly. And then there's been some fish on the graph, not a pile, but there are some like that last one where it just came up and just gone, right? Like doesn't even give you a look. So there definitely is more fish in this area than anything else. I find a lot of these northern lakes, especially this time of year in February, they get a little bit harder to not only catch the fish, but locate the fish. A lot of the bait fish, I feel like in a lake like this goes deep right now this time of year, and those fish are following that bait fish. Walleye can go, they can go as deep as lake trout. They can get down, I've caught them accidentally as deep as like 80 feet, and not that you'd ever target them there. They still come up to these shallows to obviously look for bait fish and eat once in a while and cruise around, but you'd never target them in that 80 feet, but they are down there for sure. So if there's a bunch of walleye deep and not so many shallow, they're a lot harder to catch this time of year. Okay, I don't have the best service ever, and I only got actually 2% left on my phone, but I'm going to do another little segment here of a Ask Dr. Donkey Clayton Anything. This is coming from my lake trout video here that I released recently with a spicy catch and cook sandwich. Question 1. Are you supposed to wet your hands before landing or handling the lake trout like we are for rainbows or brook or brown like we are in Pennsylvania? Question mark. Great video, good meal. Yes, there's no doubt you should wet your hands. It's not even just trout. It's pike, walleye, anything, right? When you have a dry hand, you will take that slime off of that fish. And I don't know if you're asking just as a question or if you think I might not have my hands wet, but when I'm putting my hands in the water to land that fish, like my hands are wet for sure. You definitely want to protect that slime on that fish. It's good to wet your hands 100%. Fish sandwiches are the best. Do you ever fry your laker with the skin on? I love it that way. Get the skin crispy and it's deadly. Always fry them up when they're in between 16 and 22 inches. That's interesting. No, I've never done any fried fish with the skin on, I don't think. I've baked it with the skin on. I'll have to try a lake trout fried with the skin. I'm assuming you're not like talking like deep fried. I'm assuming that you're meaning like pan fried type of thing. So comment below for exactly what you mean by that, Pat. But if anybody else has tried fried trout before with the skin on it, let me know below as well. Question for Clayton. Do you believe that burping lake trout is a good or a bad thing? We fish Lakers on Big Green Lake in Wisconsin and in around 100 feet of water, and we try to burp them before sending them back. Burping Lakers is a good thing for sure. It's hard to really get them to burp though by yourself. They have to want to burp. Like, you can think that you're squeezing and squeezing and that's helping them. They're just going to burp on their own. Usually it's when they're coming up, when they're fighting that when they're fighting the lure or whatever, when they're fighting your rod, as you're fighting the lake, or they're burping on the way up. If they don't burp, you can definitely descend them down with a descending device, which will help them a lot. Or I've even drilled an ice well before too and put them in there, and eventually they kind of burp as well. So Lakers will and do have the ability to burp by themselves, but sometimes they don't burp, and a lot of it's if you bring them up too quick, or if it's a bigger meal and the gullet is, or the bait is stuck in their gullet, where in their throat, and they can't release the air. So burping them is good. If you have a method to burp them, that's great. But most of my experience is that it's really hard to try to get them to burp, like as just like rubbing your hand or anything like that alongside of them. Oh, what's this coming in? Come on, what was that? Come on. Come on. Oh, no. Hardly ate it. Probably got my minnow. No, it doesn't feel like it. Got half of it. Bit half of my minnow off right at the hook. How do they do that? How do they pull that off like that? Or bite it off? It's just like right there. Oh, something just rose up there. So I was jigging. Something's down there. Come on. Okay, burbot or walleye. It ate. I felt it, and I kind of wait till it just leveled for a second. What do we got? Walleye. Okay. Little walleye bite here. Oh, he's choking up minnows. Well, definitely a little bit of a success. Caught some golden walleyes. It's not over quite yet, but we're getting very close. The sun set like 20 minutes ago, so I got a little bit left. That is definitely a good thing. I feel a little bit accomplished. The fact that I slugged it out, came out. Don't get me wrong. This is not a barn burner of a day at all. But if I wanted to, I caught 2 perfect walleyes to eat. I could have kept those to eat. I got a burbot that I could have kept to eat. Like, you know, if your mission was today was to come out and get some eaters, it'd have been a great day. My mission was honestly just to get out and do something a little bit different, right? Like, I've never ice fished the little lake. I've never caught a walleye actually on the little lake in the winter. I've never caught a walleye up in this general area in the winter period. But I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm going to come out and just see what I can make happen. Make it happen. I'm struggling with words. English, Clayton. I'm not that excited. Like, I'm excited about I caught some walleyes. But it was a very, very cool day so far. I've grinded hard. There's not a lot of fish catches in this video, but there's a little bit of tips in terms of like some stuff to look for when you go out to explore. Right now, from what I could tell, today was definitely a mid-lake hump day. Yeah, nothing crazy. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I've smoked fish today, but I definitely feel a little bit accomplished that I came out and made something happen. Well, sadly, fished into the dark here a little bit, and no burbot, no more walleye. That's the name of the game. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Definitely get out of your comfort zone, you know, and try some different things. Good mapping will allow you to try other spots, new stuff, right? Don't get stuck in a rut of always going to the same spot over and over and over again. It's fun to explore other areas, look for new adventures. That's something I want to do on the channel more and more. It's just like explore, just do different things, right? Get out of your comfort zone. Not that this was exactly it wasn't out of my comfort zone, but it was like, it's all new spots. All the spots I fished today were all spots I've never fished in the winter before, and it was all new to me. So it's always fun just to go out and do new things. Short video, not much, probably a long video. I talk so much. Clayton, you talk too much. But there wasn't very many fish catches is what I'm trying to say. But there's more up at Baker's Narrows than just lake trout. There's lots of different other options as well, as I've done in the past, and I'm sure I'll do in the future. So thank you so much for watching, and don't forget, get outside.